All right, mates. Another day on the up. Hope everybody's doing well. Couple things today. Um, Water's kind of transitioned a little bit. And clarity's off a little bit. So really today, the only two baits, productive baits were the tube spin, which is a modified spin, with a jig head and a tube, as well as some finesse. Other than that, nothing else was working today. I will say this though, ran into a couple mates. Had kind of like found them in a spot that's it's a hot spot for muskie, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that these two individuals knew a muskie from a flathead catfish. To be honest with you, and that's okay. Yeah, put some of my Spanish speaking skills to use. Um, in the DMV, because I was like, they weren't targeting. They didn't know what muskie were, and my concern you really don't want to target muskie in August. Okay, um, it's just not good for the population. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people come on them haphazardly, in search of other species. And I could just tell by the setup and everything that the two mates were using it. They were just fishing to catch whatever. But they were in a spot that a lot of people here know, a little deeper area, that, fills up with muskies because of just the way the river is. And, so I slid over, had a conversation with them. They're pretty welcome, and just talking with them, and I, kind of explained the situation. Like they had communicated to me they had already lost two baits, and I was just like, basically, I just said, mates, you know what that's about, and they're like, they figured it was like, catfish, I think, or something like that. I was like, no, that's musky. They're gonna take your small, they're gonna take those baits and rip you to shreds. Um, and so that kind of piqued their interest. I mean, they were really good guys, like in terms of like, and I told them, I said, look, I'll get you, I'll put you on smallies. If you're here to catch fish and you want to catch fish, if you want to catch catfish, and so I ended up moving them down about 45 to 50 yards, to an out further, using the rocks, to move them, because they didn't mind getting wet a little bit. The river's less than, in that section, a foot and a half deep at some of its deepest points, until you find that pool pocket that's 2.5 to 3 feet. And that's what I put them on. And literally within 3 minutes to 4 minutes of me moving off, in the kayak, I got the thumbs up. They were catching fish. So, it's just something I want people to understand, about the river, just to be conscious about, is you're going to come into fish, don't get me wrong, but if you're, just don't target species really at the time of year that they're in kind of like the most danger. Because, for the most part, if you catch that muskie, its survival rate is very, very low, okay, in the heat of August. And I told them, I said, look, man, come back to this spot in like late September and early October, and, and they'll be successful to catch muskie if they've never caught muskie before, right? I don't think they knew what muskies were, to be honest with you. But all in all, another day on the up, man. Like, it's like, near that, it has not been a August, as we say, by any means, from talking to people, either be largemouth or smallmouth, in the DMV this year. It's been kind of a tough grind, tough bite, for size wise to get that. Some people have gotten into that biggin, but for the most part, man, I think a lot of it has to do with the weather's just been wonk, man. Like, water levels I don't remember the water level staying this low for this long a period of time, in probably 15 years myself. Just like consistently out on the water every week, and have the water be for this period of time, have the water be 2.5 feet or less in most sections of the Piedmont of the up. And it's crazy. And it's I think it's really impacting, catch rates for a lot of people that I've talked to. Normally it'd be easy to catch 30, 40 fish in a few hours, having a blast, having a good time, and that's kind of like, tapered off. So we got a little bump in the water level, but then it just kind of leveled back again. And I guess that had a lot to do with whatever weather was happening, upriver that impacted the water levels that were like for a 4 hours for a stretch. It kind of rose a little bit in a lot of sections, but you're still at like 1.5, I think, or lower at Point of Rocks. You're still at like 1.5 below Old Dam 2. You're still at like 3.5, maybe 3.2 to 3.4 feet at Edwards Ferry. So I mean, that's pretty consistent of where it's been for the last month. I mean, to be honest with you. So the bite's just been real tight. It's been real tough, but it's got an opportunity to try some new things, try some new baits, especially some finesse setups, underspins, spinners, like I said before, modified spinners. You're always going to, hook into some fish with anything, like inline spinner, anything that's like that. You're going to hook into fish. May not always be smallmouth bass, but you're going to hook into something on the river for sure. But that's just a quick update from the river for today. Well, hopefully we're going to move into the weekend and we'll get, hopefully some weather here. Got a little bit of rain that happened. A little small little thunderstorm. Hopefully we'll get some more rain tonight and maybe into Friday going into the weekend. That'll kind of change some things up a little bit. But we'll see what happens. But just take away from this, please, if you know people, just pass the word. You don't want to be catching muskie right now. It's just freaking too hot. Let them be. At least don't target them. You may get them, but if you do get one, try and break that thing off as best you can. Try and get them right back into the water as best you can, or don't even bring them into the boat. Just kind of do it at the side of your boat or side of your kayak as best you can. Try and keep them out of the water as little time as possible during the next week or so until we get some cooler weather. Water temperatures begin to cool down for them. They're just really struggling right now. I mean, it's a tough time for them. So try and look out. Try and do that. Try and do the right thing by people. Try and do the right thing by the fish. Keep it real. Kind of educate people as you can along the way if you're seeing people, just so they know. I mean, you can't stop people fishing, okay, for stuff. You just can't unless there's regulations in your state or in your area about certain species. You just have to hopefully pass the word, educate people, and let them make the right decisions. That's all you can. And these guys did. They moved off. They kind of took it what I said, and I put them on fish. So all in all, win-win. And I hope they go back in a month or so or 2 months or so when, the river's different and it's that time of year and, they can catch all the muskie they want and be able to throw it back or whatever. But that's just where it is. Another day on the water, any day on the river is a great day, mates. All right, I'll see you.